Hi, I'm Steve Vest. I'd like to welcome you to FPB's Meet the Candidates. This Cable 10 series allows you, the voter, to hear directly from the candidates on their views on the issues that are important to all of us. This is leading up to the general election on November 5th. We took questions from the community via email and social media, so we're going to jump right in. Today's guest is Katima Smith-Willis, and she is a candidate for City Commission. Thank you for taking time to join us today.
Thanks for inviting me. Thank you.
I'm going to start off with the easiest question. This is basically just tell us about yourself and why you're running for City Commission.
Yeah, okay. My name's Katima Smith-Willis. I'm from Frankfort, Kentucky, born and raised. I'm a mother. I'm a student at the Kentucky State University. I'm majoring in political science right now. I like to say I'm a Franklin County flyer. I've been here all my life, and I'm ready to take my leadership to the next level. I'm a very much so grassroots organizer. I'm very much involved in the community, and I've been taking these past 5 years to kind of polish my skill set, and I am at the age right now where I'm ready to take that next step. I have a 2-year-old son, and he is my absolute world, and I would hope that he wouldn't want to stay here and plant trees here in Frankfort, and so I want to contribute to that growth of Frankfort and to grow my family and our future generations.
Okay, well, you said you're a Franklin County flyer, but you went to 2nd Street.
Yeah, I switched up a little bit throughout my life. I started off at 2nd Street. Mm-hmm. I attended 2nd Street School, and then my mother became a school bus driver for the Franklin County school system. So I had the option to stay at 2nd Street or switch over, and so then I went to Elkhorn Middle School. Then I attended Franklin County High School, and then I was kind of ready to just start working and kind of get out in the field. So I actually did drop out of high school, and I attended Penn Foster High School and got my diploma. Okay. But I like to give my flyers their shout-outs when I can.
Okay. Well, so what experience do you have that's prepared you to be for a seat on the City Council?
Yeah, so about 5 years ago, there was this really large march that I had organized here in Frankfort. It was the March on Frankfort. I took that march and I kind of replicated what Martin Luther King Jr. did in 1964. Mm-hmm. I did my research. I just went down a kind of a rabbit hole, to be honest, because I was just really curious as to what they were marching for. And so there were things that were happening in America and things that were happening in Kentucky that I wanted to step up and use my voice and use my platform. People in the community tend to turn to me to ask questions and get resources, and I was like, why not do something for us, for the people, to just get our voices out there? So that's what I did, and it kind of just snowballed after that, to be honest. It put me in positions to learn, to be educated, not to just act like I know everything. I just had to sit back and listen for few years. And with that, I got to serve in the governor's office. I was appointed to the Human Rights Commission. I have served on multiple boards since then. And I've kind of just become well-polished in the area of policy. Now, I'm not no pro at it. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know everything because I am still learning. But I am 28. I had to think about it. Just turned 28.
That's right.
I'm 28. I turned 28 on May 7th this year. And I'm at the age where I have the energy, I have the drive to keep going. I think that, I pay homage to my ancestors, and then I love my elderly community as well, but they keep me in the know, but then they also keep me educated. And I think that passing that torch is essential in things like this. And I think running for office shouldn't just be for people that are in a certain age category. I think, we give the young ones a chance to get in there, learn. Like I said, I'm going back to, I don't know everything. There's going to be probably questions you ask me here today. I'll be like, I really don't know, to be honest. Okay. But honesty is key, and I'm ready to get in there and learn and grow.
Well, so what do you see as the most pressing issue facing Frankfort right now, and how would you address them as a city commissioner?
One of the most pressing issues. I'm a mother. I work a pretty regular job. Mm-hmm. I've held down 3 jobs at one time to, make ends meet.
Right.
And I think one of the biggest issues that we're having right now is housing across the board. I think that, from what I hear from the community, it's from the people, because I'm not up here for me, I'm for the community. And I think that from what I've heard and from what I've seen and I've experienced is, there's not a lot of places to pick and choose to live right now.
Right.
And not everybody's ready to buy in this market. Some people like me, I'm still very much so renting, and affordable housing is an issue that we are facing right now. So, running for city commission and obtaining that seat, I do believe that I have an ear for the community, and I think that our commission has done a fairly good job so far. But I think that it's not prioritized. And as a regular Joe out here in Frankfort, I think that I would have that drive to prioritize that issue.
Okay. Well, how would you work to attract new businesses and jobs to Frankfort while supporting existing local businesses?
Yeah, I love our local businesses, especially our small businesses, especially in downtown Frankfort. I genuinely enjoy making my everyday stop to the coffee shop at Engine House, and I love to talk to them. I like to hear their ideas, and it's kind of refreshing to see younger people come in this community and develop in these businesses. But I think one of the things to keep in mind is the things that they need and prioritize their needs. But I don't want to hinder our growth either. I think getting out there and going to other communities and seeing what they have there and talking to certain businesses and reaching out to certain developers to see what they're doing and what other cities are doing that we could implement here in Frankfort. I think intentionality is huge, and being intentional with your listening skills and not just doing it because it looks good on camera or wherever the case may be. I think actually taking things and bringing it back home and prioritizing and putting them in place is essential. So, I would just put myself out there. I would keep doing what we have to do to support our small businesses and businesses across Frankfort, but also I'm not going to stop our growth either. And I want to attract all businesses here because we are growing.
Yeah.
I think Frankfort I've never been more happier to be here, to be honest. I had somebody, like I said, I go to K-State, and I made a comment in my English 101 class, and I was like, I'm from Frankfort. Somebody was like, you're from here? I was like, yeah. I said, but I've been here for 28 years, and I have seen it flourish over time. But I want to make sure that all parts of our community are flourishing. But businesses, I want us to keep growing, and I want to keep supporting our business that we have here in Frankfort.
Well, some people don't realize there's more than one Frankfort.
Oh yeah.
There's the Frankfurt State Government, there's the local community of Frankfort,
Yep.
And some of those people, even people who come over to KSU, they may see the outside Frankfurt and not the inside Frankfurt.
Yeah, they don't see, the question that our teacher had asked us was, why do you think this author referred to this community as an old town and not the new town? And I had made a reference to, if you're from Frankfurt, you called the old capital, and then the new capital. And then they were just, speaking about, what is it about Frankfurt? I was like, there's so many beautiful things in this community that, maybe you just don't see. And I think that's also kind of leads back to bridging the gap between the community and our university. So I just kind of encouraged them. I was like, hey, I'm really busy right now. I kind of just politely said I'm running for office because I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. But I was just like, I would love to take y'all around, hop on the trolley with Mr. Unger and let's just take y'all around so you guys can see the possibilities are endless here in Frankfurt.
Right. Well, you just mentioned bridging the gap, but right now we've got 2 bridges closed indefinitely. Taylor Avenue is closed indefinitely. So what are your thoughts or plans for improving infrastructure in the city, particularly with bridges, roads, and sewer lines?
Yeah. The Taylor Ave, the indefinitely part is still mind-blowing to me. I think, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything, but one of the things that I do realize and see is, our commission's doing a good job, but I think that we need to prioritize and pivot a little bit to fix some of these things in Frankfort that are a part of our everyday commutes. People on Taylor Avenue, people live there. So to block off that indefinitely or that access, I feel like it should be front and center and moving forward. And the Singing Bridge, especially the Singing Bridge, it's not indefinitely at the moment. I think that there are things in place to be able to fund that project, but speaking to other mothers here in the community that take a stroll across the bridge, it's very accessible for strollers because I pushed my kid across it. I think that these are things that we need to really start putting forward and talking about. And, I think we have some projects going on that are great, but are they detrimental? No. I am all for infrastructure and economic development, but let's fix the things here at home so when people do get attracted to Frankfort and want to stay here, we have all the necessities to keep them around, to have access to things and everything in that area. So, I have a lot of learning to do. This is not something that I'm just going to hop into and assume that I know how things are going to operate, but I do know I'm going to be very intentional and pick up things that the commission has previously done and do my research and figure out how we can keep everybody here.
Okay. The Frankfort Franklin County Comprehensive Plan has been a subject of discussion in the community for some time. What is the goal of the plan, and what are your priorities in the plan, for the plan?
I have looked over the comprehensive plan and the strategic plan. It is something that I have to fully wrap my head around. It's a lot of information, to be honest. It kind of made me a little apprehensive when I saw it, because there's so many moving parts to leading the city and to be a citizen in the city. So I think that's one of the things that I might have to sit back and kind of sit on and do my research on and talk to other sitting commissioners. And honestly, the other commissioners that are running are very educated. Mm-hmm. I have learned a lot from them along this journey. So that's something I'm going to really have to continuously educate myself on to be able to fully sit here and tell you, this is what I want to do. I'm not going to sit here and make empty promises that I can't keep.
Okay. Well, how do you think we should balance development and preservation at the same time, especially when it comes to rural and agricultural land versus city land or other developments?
Balance.
Some people want us to grow.
Yeah. Some
people want us to grow or replace the things that we already have without growing outside of the boundaries.
Yeah. I'm very much so in the business of preserving what we have here, especially history. Mm-hmm. Frankfort is full of it, and it's everywhere. I think that, I think money is always it's going to boil down to money and where these funds are going to. But we have to be able to attract people here to continuously grow. But I think while we do grow, we still can preserve what is here and to let it be and let it be here for generations on end, so we can continuously tell these stories. And not even stories show what Frankfort has always been. But I know that we're going to have to keep developing in Frankfort for us to grow. But I don't think that we need to put all of our resources to developing at just one time. I think that just going back to what you said was balance. And with balance, I think that it goes back to hearing what the community wants and needs. It's not always about where the money is coming from. I think that we listen to the people in this community, and then we also figure out what are our needs and what are our wants at this time.
Okay. Well, if you had a choice, what specific industries would you like to see developed in Frankfort? Or businesses you'd like to bring in?
Yeah. I think that there's not a lot of things for our kids to do right now. That is one of my major things. Now, do I want to bring in like a large main event or, there's the possibilities are endless. Not necessarily, but I do think that we need to bring in people that want to contribute to our youth. People aren't wanting to stay here because there's not much to do, especially for the children. There's a lot of kids in this community. Yeah. So I would definitely want to bring in something for the youth to have something to do. I'm a mentor for the Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation, and my mentee was like, I get so bored after school. Between practice and school, there's nothing in between. So I'm listening and I hear them. And so that would be one of my main priorities, is to bring in those kind of businesses. I also, like I said, I attend Kentucky State University. I think that we need more Black-owned businesses, not just downtown. I think it should be across Frankfort, across Franklin County. Those are things that I would want to vet out and bring here, because we are a very diverse town and complex town, and not just Black business. I want everybody to be here, but I think that we need to kind of switch it up a little bit. We need to get a little bit more fresher. I love the bourbon industry. It's booming right now. It's amazing to see that growth, but we need to reach out to everybody in this community, not just our tourists at the time. And as a mother, like I said, I want my kid to have something to do. And okay. I would enjoy something to do myself. I love being downtown, but there's not too much to do.
Okay. Well, and you mentioned the housing concerns. You mentioned moderate and low cost housing as the biggest concern. Do you have any ideas or suggestions or strategies for that?
I think that with the survey that the city did, I think it was a really good start. I don't think that, especially for the lower income community and coming from a lower income family, not everybody can make these city commission meetings. Yeah. It's hard to get in there, and it's hard and also the meetings are at an inconvenience time occasionally for the community. I don't think the community is being prioritized and their voices are being heard. I think that, we're reaching out to a lot of people to develop, but are we reaching out to the developers to want to invest in Frankfort to possibly build an affordable housing complex? Maybe not even a complex, maybe a multi-family single home an area that is affordable, that is open to Section 8 housing. I think there's a stigma behind Section 8 housing that really should be looked into, honestly. But, middle class, we need housing for people that work in the bourbon industry. A lot of people commute to Buffalo Trace, Jim Beam. I think there's a place, there needs to be a place for them as well. So I think reaching out to other communities, going back to what I said earlier, we need to fall in line with what other communities around us are doing and, see how they're doing it so we can kind of progressively move forward and not be so stagnant. Okay. But I think starting off listening to the community and their needs should be prioritized.
Okay. We'll talk about wants and needs. One of the things that people want or appear to want is an indoor pool. There's plans underway that could include 2 pools. How would you prioritize funding for the restoration of the pool at KSU and the construction of a new community pool?
The pool topic is so interesting to me because I remember a time where I had multiple options to go to a pool. This summer, actually, it took me and Milo stood in line for almost an hour and a half. It was hot. I had a 2-year-old crying. It was really frustrating. I missed the East Frankfort Park, the pool. I actually attended swimming lessons at the Kentucky State University when I was younger as well. So I remember these options. How would I prioritize, getting these projects underway? I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier. I think our city's focus right now is not on what it needs to be on. If you ask me, a pool is a necessity. I don't even think it's a want at this point. It goes back to our youth. That gives them something to do. Our older community, it gets them out. They get to exercise in the pool. So I think it's a need. I don't think it's a want at this point. Okay. I would want to make sure that, our resources are going to where they need to fund these projects and not just frivolously being spent. So, I would definitely want to get in there, figure out where the commission has stopped it on these projects and what we're doing, especially with Kentucky State University, and how we're effectively helping them do whatever they need to do to their pool. So I think just continuing those conversations, but then also intentionally listening and being transparent with the university, with the parks, to make sure that these things can be prioritized, but also sustainable.
Okay. Well, the Kentucky General Assembly included funding for Frankfort Convention Center in the budget during the 2024 legislative session. What is your plan to ensure the necessary additional funding that might be needed for that project?
It's a tough question. What would I do? I think what I would do is, like I said, get in there and just figure out where we're at with everything. I really think that there's going to be things that I have to sit back and take in and to see where these processes are lying at. I think that a lot of these processes start, we receive funding, and then things just kind of sit there. I think that other things that are happening within the commission kind of take the front seat, and I think that things kind of just get left behind. So I definitely want to get in there. The convention center is super essential. I think that's not even a want at this point either. It goes back to our youth. That's something that we need here in this community. It brings in a revenue, So why would we not want to prioritize that? So like I said, I don't have this large plan, but I do know that I would get in there and be very adamant about, if we have this funding, why are we not prioritizing using it? Where are we at with the plans? And what can we do to move it forward?
Okay. Well, and how would you improve the relationship between city government and the community?
I try very hard to lead by example.
Okay.
I plug myself in every part of this community that I can. I almost spread myself thin, to be honest, because I want everybody to be heard. I think accessibility is a huge thing. I do not believe right now the city government is accessible to the community, especially I'm going to go back to the marginalized community. I'm in a really special spot in my life right now where I'm kind of in between knowing a certain crowd and then still, in another crowd to where I hear things that maybe elected officials don't hear.
Yeah.
And people are cool with like approaching me. I try to keep talking about this stuff kind of fresh and lively because it can get kind of boring. So I try to make it to where it's understandable and get people involved. So I would continue to do that. And I would also hope that other elected officials don't just look at my age or maybe the color of my skin or maybe even my experience and shun me away. I would want to be taken under their wings so I can bring them along with me and show them that there's this whole other part of the community that needs to be heard. So I would want to continuously try to bridge that gap and keep doing what I'm doing now, just have the title as a city commissioner. Okay.
What would you like to see as far as environmental and sustainability within the city?
There is. I appreciate this state. I appreciate the land that we live on. I love the world. All of those great things in the environment. But if we don't take care of where we're at right now, there won't be too much to take care of. I'm all for preserving what's here for future generations and to take care of our environment. I think that there are things in place and there's conversations going on that I've been hearing and listening to about, things that we can do to be more sustainable, especially just like downtown, like in our of the mixed district that we did have. Things like such, I agree with what we're doing, but I think it goes back to balance. And I think that we need to make sure that we're not hurting our businesses, but also we're not hurting our environment at the same time. So I would keep listening to those conversations, and I'm all for picking up education along the way, because when we talk about environmental resources and education, it's a very broad category. And, I would want to make sure that I'm listening to what Frankfort needs and not what other places might need as well.
Okay. Well, what about enhancing tourism and promoting Frankfort's historical significance?
I've been honored to be on a project with the Grand Theater. It's called Stories from the Balcony. And I have gained such a large appreciation for tourism and history and things of such. And I never really realized all the things that we had here in Frankfort until I hopped on that project, especially with the Grand Theater. So I want people to see Frankfort for what it is in its entirety. And I would want to make sure that we're bringing people in and we're not turning them away, especially when it comes to all the industries that we have. So, I would keep pushing for the things that we're doing now. I think Frankfort's in a really good position where we're encouraging tourism. We have 2 really beautiful hotels that are going up right now. I think that's going to give us a balance between, implementing housing, taking a step back from short-term rentals, and then, putting people up in a hotel, and a nice hotel at that. I think that with us having all these options, especially downtown, it'll help, I think, the tourism boom even more. So I would, want to encourage people to, let them know what Frankfort's about beforehand,
Sure.
Push out all the things that we have going on, especially in our downtown district. I think we're doing a lot of good things. And I have, since joining that project, I have caught about 3 movies at the Grand Theater. It is a hidden gem in this community. So, if people come to Frankfort, I want them to see all aspects, and I would, just keep pushing out all the information that I can about Frankfort.
Okay. Well, what about concerns about crime and public safety in the city?
Public safety is beyond essential. A city can't operate. We can't have the things that we do have without law enforcement, firefighters, everybody that, first responders. Public safety is huge to me, and I'm appreciative of everybody and their service. So, when it comes to crime, I unfortunately lost my father last year to an opioid overdose, and that hit very close to home. So it was a huge wake-up call, this is right here in our backyard. So, I think we need to put resources back into this community to be able to find a balance and help people that need the help, but then also be able to keep our first responders and anybody that's in public safety first and foremost in their safety as well. So I think that we have really good things in place right now. A social worker community coordinators. We have great programs like the Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation, Yes Arts. There's a lot of things that are in place. So I think that we're headed in the right direction. I just think it's time that we expand on those and, once again, prioritize our first responders. They're doing a great job. It's not easy work. They put their lives on the line, and it does not go unnoticed. So I would hopefully want to keep having those conversations to see what they need from the city, and then we continue to grow from there.
Okay. And you talked a little bit already, but what about developing and maintaining Frankfort's parks and recreational areas?
I think that just goes back to resources, to be honest. All about funding and preserving what we have here. We have some great parks. We have a lot of really nice things right now, but are they going to last? Are they going to be sustainable? So, when we talk about parks and, keeping all these things going, I think it all just goes back to what are we doing with the money? Where's it at? Are we looking to grow more in that area, or are we just putting things of such on the back burner? So, I would definitely just keep being intentional behind my decision making. I think some people get in office and get really hasty and a little bit of prideful, but I really don't want to be that person. I know I wouldn't be that person. I would just love to just keep being intentional with my decision making skills and correct decision making skills.
Okay. Well, and you talked about communication or a need for more communication. Could you talk about local government being more transparent and how to ensure open communication with citizens?
Yeah. I think it was just a few weeks ago, maybe a little bit. The days are just starting to run together at this point on the trail. So there was a city commission meeting. It was at 3:00. And I was like, I was even like, bro, I need to go. I need to be there. Yeah. There were people in the community that wanted to be there that had messaged me or gave me a call like, hey, are you going? Can I give you my public comments so you can read? And I'm like, I need to read something myself. I got stuff to say. I think that there needs to be way more transparency. Do I have a fix-all? I'm not going to sit here and say I do. I'm not going to get up here and make empty promises, but what I will do is I will recommend, and that will be one of my first recommendations, is to make sure that our community can be there.
Right.
I get the meeting agendas, I get all that stuff, and not just meetings. I'm talking about accessing your local officials.
Okay.
I know I personally have in the past sent emails, and they kind of just blow in the wind. Okay. So I think that we need better representation, and I think that we need people that understand what it's like to either be down here or be up here. And I've been fortunate enough to be down there and learn from being down there, and then also being kind of in the middle right now. So I would only hope to be a liaison for the community, and if I can't get in there and get something as simple as meeting times changed, I think that we have a much bigger problem.
Okay. Well, we're to that point in the show where you stop talking to me and you're going to talk to the viewers, ask for their vote and tell them why you're the person to be elected to the City Commission.
My name is Katima Smith-Willis. I am running for City Commission. I would be honored to have your vote. There are 3 things that I'm standing on, and that's transparency, accessibility, and accountability. I have taken these past 4 or 5 years to really learn to take in and soak in like a sponge all the things in this community that I only hope to obtain this seat and to show you all the kind of leader that I can be and I will be. If you want to reach out to me, I'm very accessible. I would put my phone number out here, but I'm going to give you my email. It's Katima4, the letter 4, the people, @gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook. It's Katima for City Commission. And you can catch me around downtown. I'm around all the time, so just stop me, and I would be so excited to talk to you and hear from you and hopefully have your vote. I appreciate you all.
Well, Katima, thank you for coming by today, and I know our viewers appreciate hearing from you. And to our viewers, I would like to remind you to vote on Tuesday, November the 5th, and then tune in to Channel 10 and see the results. And thank you for your time, and thanks for tuning in.